This is Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing. You are watching Sporting Icons. You don't need to be anywhere else.
PEDs in boxing. Now that seems to be a pretty hot subject at the minute. So I want to give you my thoughts on PEDs. I'm going to give you a bit of a breakdown of how the whole thing works with when it comes to VADA, how you get tested by VADA, how it gets brought out to the public, who makes a decision as to whether or not you get a ban, all that kind of thing. And of course the difference between a performance enhancing drug that's on VADA and a performance enhancing drug that is not, because obviously there are some so-called differences. But of course we're going to talk about UCAD and that as well. Yes, we're going to talk about Dillian Whyte, because already at this point in the video there's going to be somebody somewhere out there already mentioning the name of Dillian Whyte. Why just try and get a rise out of me? Oh, there he is, look at that, he's protecting his mate. But I'm also going to give you a potential solution for drug users in boxing and VADA's role. So many things we'll talk about, but of course when it comes to PEDs, I'm not really an expert on PEDs, but I kind of know the system, I know kind of how it works, and I'm okay with steroids in the sense of I have first-hand experience with steroids. Shakara, right? We're going to get to that point in the video, but don't judge right yet. So how does it work? So for example, let me give you an example. Now, I'm a professional boxer, right? I'm not really a professional boxer. For anybody who's new here, oh, and if you are new here, please make sure that you subscribe. Congratulations, you found us. Now, but for the purpose of this video, I'm a professional boxer, okay? I'm doing quite well. I'm blasting people out. I'm floating like a butterfly, stinging like a bee, all that kind of stuff. I think, you know what? I want to challenge for the WBC heavyweight world title. So how do I do that? Well, WBC President Mauricio Suleiman, he can let me into the top 15. Mr. Suleiman, I want to be ranked in the top 15 of the WBC. Well, sorry, Mr. Icons, you can't. Now, we know that you're really good. You know, you're a good-looking guy. You've got a fantastic body. You've got the skills of a Lomachenko. You've got the footwork of a Muhammad Ali, the elusiveness of a Tyson Fury, the punching power of a Joshua, the left hook of a Dillian Whyte, and the chin of Marius Wack. You are the perfect heavyweight, probably arguably the greatest heavyweight that ever lived. Which, of course, if I was a professional boxer, that's probably how they describe me, right? But anyway, we can't let you on the top 15, so therefore you can't challenge for a title because you're not enrolled in VADA. Okay, Mr. Suleiman, so if I want to be ranked in the top 15 and fight for a title within your organisation, i.e. the WBC heavyweight world title, I have to be enrolled in VADA. There's no other way around it. I must be enrolled in your WBC Clean Boxing program, i.e. registered with VADA. Correct. Well, VADA stands for Voluntary Anti-Doping Agency, correct? Yeah, that's correct. Well, it's not exactly voluntary then, is it? So if I could be ranked in the top 15, then it's almost compulsory then, isn't it? Should it be called Compulsory Anti-Doping Agency? Just saying. Okay, no worries. Sign me up. Cool. A little while later, could be the very next day. Could be 2 or 3 years down the line. You never know when you're going to be tested, right? Get a little knock on the door, a knock at the gym. You could be on holiday in Cyprus or Benidorm, who knows, okay? As long as you tell VADA where is that you're going to be, because you do, you have to tell them every time that you move city or go to a different gym, whatever it may be, you have to inform them. Because if they turn up and you ain't there, it ain't looking good for you, okay? It goes down as a strike. Okay, so either way, you get like a knock at the door, wherever it may be. Mr. Icons, hello, who are you? Well, I'm Mr. Jones, this is Mr. Smith. We work for VADA, we've come to test you. So we need some urine, we need some blood, all that kind of good stuff. Okay, cool, come on in. Cup of tea? No, you're all right. Here you go, here's a sample. A few days later, maybe get a phone call, or my team does. Mr. Icons, just to let you know, you have passed all of VADA. There's nothing abnormal in your system. You're good to go. Oh, thank you very much for letting me know. Could be some time later. Could be the very next day for all we know. Could be a couple of years down the line. Who knows? Next time you're going to get tested. Knock on the door again. Oh, hello, it's you again. You all right? Yeah, cool. Cup of tea again? No, you're all right. You want some blood? Yeah, that's what we want. Damn vampires. Here you go. It's some blood. So, a couple of days later, or a week later, who knows? Mr. Icons, just to let you know, we've found something in one of your samples that shouldn't be there. Okay, what is it? Well, there's no point in us telling you what it is because you would never have heard of it. In fact, we've never heard of it, okay? But it's on our list. We've found it. Okay, but if we put it out to the press, then there's going to be quite a few YouTubers out there who suddenly become experts on this particular thing, even though they've probably never heard of it themselves, right? All right, okay. So what happens now? You can test my B sample. Well, you've got to speak to the WBC about it first. We've already informed your team. We've informed the WBC. And we've informed because you're fighting in Las Vegas next, potentially at least, we've informed the Nevada State Athletic Commission. Okay, cool. Right, so you can't do anything about it. You can't overlook it. A couple of quid here. No. So you're the experts, VADA. You're the ones who test this. So you are clearly the PED expert, and you're going to let the WBC and the Nevada State Athletic Commission, as an example, investigate me and make a decision. Yes, but they're not experts on PEDs. They're not doctors or anything. Well, what can you do? Well, I'm going to give you a solution for that in a second. Okay, so Mr. Suleiman, WBC president, calls me up. Mr. Icons, hello. I suppose you've heard about the adverse finding in my sample. Yeah, we have. Any idea how we got there? Nope. On my eyes, I promise you, I'm a clean athlete. I'll give him the usual spiel that every fighter does. I don't know how he got there. I have absolutely no idea. I'm very, very careful. I'm a clean athlete. I've never cheated. I don't even as much as take a paracetamol for a headache. That's how straight edge I am. Okay. Well, it's definitely got there. So, have you done something recently that maybe you don't normally do? I can't think of it. Well, I mean, I've got a new girlfriend. I mean, I don't know, maybe I've got something. Nah. Actually, it was my birthday not so long ago, and somebody gave me a box of After 8 chocolate mints, which, of course, I don't usually have because, usually I'll eat like the same kind of things. I have a routine and everything. I drink the same kind of stuff, so nothing's really changed. That's the only real thing that I can point at that maybe that's what it was. My libido's a little bit down as well. I'm not going to deny maybe taking something, but forget about that bit. I think it's a chocolate After 8 mints. Because, you can't just have one. Before you know it, you've polished off half a packet and you're feeling quite sick about them, okay? But maybe something in that. All right, Mr. Icons, we'll have a look at it. We'll get back to you a little while later. Mr. Icons, this is Mauricio Suleiman. Hello, sir. Yeah, we can't find anything in the After 8 mints that would substantiate this particular system. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you a 6-month ban. We're going to put it out there in public, all that kind of good stuff. Whoa, hold your horses. Before you give me a ban of any kind, I don't think we've ever had this conversation before, Mr. Suleiman, but my grandma's actually Mexican. Mrs. Garcia originally, but now she's, Mrs. Icons. But before she got married, she was Mrs. or Miss Garcia. So I've got some Mexican in me. Oh, have you, Mr. Icons? Okay, we didn't know that. Okay, well, forget about a 6-month ban. You're good to go. Now, this is the kind of thing that can happen. Now, how do you get out of it? Now, of course, there's no real proper solution because where there's cheats, there's always going to be cheats, okay? Where there's money to be made, there's going to be cheats. Where there's combat sport, there's going to be cheats. Where there's competition, there's going to be people trying to bend the rules. That's how it is. But how do you get out of it? Well, there's a number of ways of getting out of it. Number one, claim Mexican heritage. Or, number two, you can just write on the VADA form anything that you've taken. Because if you declare it, and you've got a doctor to green light that, it's okay, you're good to go. Examples. Okay, so here's some examples. I'm a boxer, I damaged my hand. Well, Mr. Icons, it looks like you've damaged your hand there. We're going to have to give you a bit of surgery. But Doc, I've got a fight in a few months. How long is it going to take to heal? Probably about 6 months. Okay, is there a way to speed it up a bit? Well, yeah, of course, we can give you this kind of steroid and this kind of steroid and blah, 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 and it'll speed up the process. Okay, but there might be a problem with my testing for that one. Don't worry about it. Here's a certificate. You'll be fine. So there's another way around it. In other words, you can either have some little surgeries, take some steroids for your recovery period to help you heal, and keep on taking them. Oh, well, it must be my system. As long as I put it on the form when I'm getting tested by VADA, hey, it'll go down as a therapeutic use exemption, won't it? My libido's a little bit low. My masculinity isn't quite what it should be. Okay? Doctor, help me out. And you know what? We're supposed to think that all doctors are pretty straight edge, right? No, there's a lot of doctors out there, unfortunately, that will take some money, and especially if they're a friend of yours, give you a certificate just so you can have a therapeutic use exemption. I wonder how many fighters have that, huh? I wonder how many. So, as long as you declare it on the form, you're actually okay to go. And guess what? The general public will never know about it. As far as they're concerned, you're passed. So one thing for me is that I think that VADA, who are the ones who are testing in this particular scenario, of course you've got UCAD and other ones in that as well, but VADA, in my opinion, should make all documentation public. Every single one. Every single fighter, make it public. Pass or fail, make it public. Let's see what is written on the forms. Let's see who has therapeutic use exemptions. Let's see. Let's see who's failed and the WBC have let fight anyway. Let's see those who have failed. They have a no contest on the resume, but suddenly there's no record of anything. Why is that? I'm not saying any names. Marcellus Wilder, why do you have a no contest on your resume? Maybe it's nothing to do with drugs, right? Maybe, or maybe it is. But you see, the point is, if VADA put out every single test that they put out online, then we can see exactly what's happened with every single fighter, including those who pass. So that's one thing that WBC should allow VADA to do. If they're really serious about having a clean sport, that's one route to go down. Okay. Also, I think VADA, again in this particular circumstance, should be the ones who dish out the punishment because, as I gave you some examples there, Mauricio Suleiman, who's not a doctor, who's not an expert on PEDs or anything like that, he could get a failed athlete who's failed someone on VADA and go, right, well, we think that one's okay, so you know what, you can fight. Is it because of nationality? Possibly. Is it because he likes a fighter? Possibly. Is it because of promoter? He's got a good relationship with the promoter? Possibly. But it shouldn't be allowed, should it? You fail, you fail. Simple as that, right? VADA should do the investigation. But at the same time, every case should be investigated. Because there could be perfectly innocent reasons as to why something is in your system. It could be. For me, those who have multiple things in their system, like a Gerald Miller, for example, don't take the piss. All right, it's one thing to have one thing in your system because of something that you ate or purely accidental or whatever it may be. That's one thing. We can somewhat overlook it to a point, but when you've got like 3 or 4, that's a red flag for me. It's a real red flag, okay? But that's my point. Now, PEDs, what are they? Well, they're performance-enhancing drugs. Anyone taking Viagra? Increases your performance, right? Anybody had a pre-workout shake? Over the counter? All that kind of stuff. What about a protein bar? They're not performance enhancers? Do they not help you perform better in the gym? Do they not? Do they not replace any kind of anything that you've lost? Any supplements that you may have lost? Well, of course they do. That's what they're for. What about that CBD oil? I know quite a few people who take that. I know one of them who actually sells it, makes it. But is it a PED? Well, think about it. What does it do? If you've got breathing issues, it can help you, right? If you've got aches and joint pain, it can help you, right? If you can't sleep properly at night, it can help you, right? Okay, so here's an example. Now, people will say, but it's natural and blah. Well, everything's natural. Okay, everything comes from the ground one way or another, just that some things get genetically modified, okay? That's what happens, but everything is natural, isn't it? Everything comes from the earth one way or another, whether it be paracetamol or whether it be a coffee table. At some point, it was coming through the ground, okay? Everything is natural. But here's one example, okay? I don't take, and again, I'm not saying CBD oil is wrong or anything like that. I'm hearing that it's fantastic. I'm hearing that a lot of people should take it. And I'm not here to promote it or anything like that. But just an example for the sake of this video. I don't take anything like that, okay? I don't take CBD oil. I don't take anything like that. If I have a bad night's sleep, I have a bad night's sleep. If I have aches and pains, I have aches and pains. If I'm having trouble breathing, then I'm having trouble breathing. My opponent is having the same issues that I'm having, but he is going to be taking some CBD oil so he can sleep at night. So he can get over his aches and pains. Well, isn't he increasing his performance chances? Doesn't he have an advantage on me? because I don't really know too much about this oil, for example. I'm a little bit nervous about taking things I don't know too much about. Well, hasn't he got an advantage over me? Isn't he going to be increasing his chances of beating me? Again, you see, people talk about, say, for example, unfortunately, there was a death only a few days ago about this 18-year-old Mexican girl, as it was with Patrick Day and quite a few others. And people really go, oh, see, this is what PEDs, anybody who takes PEDs in boxing, they should be banned for life. They should be put up against a wall and shot and blah, 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 because of these kind of situations. Not one person who's ever died in the ring, their opponent has ever tested positive for PEDs. So again, I don't really know where that comes from, because taking PEDs, to my knowledge at least, is that it doesn't put muscles on your chin. It doesn't teach you how to throw a jab. It doesn't teach you how to throw the uppercut and your timing and your footwork and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't teach you how to do all that. It may give you a bit more endurance, but at the end of the day, you know, you can only take so many body shots before you go down. I don't care who you are. So what does it really do? Cuts weight for some people. Okay, that's an unfair advantage for sure. That's an argument to be had that maybe you shouldn't be in that weight division if you have to do that, right? Every case has its own merits. But if you are taking a performance enhancer, there's so many things on the VADA list. Whereas someone says, okay, right, I'll tell you what, I'll take PEDs. What, you're a cheat? Not really, I'll have a Red Bull. Gives me wings, right? I can run a little bit faster in the morning if I have a Red Bull. Is that cheating? Because he's putting something into his body that maybe his opponent is not. So how far do you go? Of course, you're talking about like the main ones like clenbuterol and all these other ones. Who knows? Now, when it comes to, say, steroids, that seems to be the biggest issue. Of course, we talk about like diuretics and that as well, which is like masking agents to hide certain things as well, of course. But with like steroids, my experience with steroids firsthand, I've never taken a steroid in my life. In my life. But each and every morning, my little boy, he has to have steroids. He has 2.5 pills, which is equivalent to 15 milligrams of deflazacort. It's a steroid, right? Along with his vitamin D tablets and, of course, his heart medication, all that kind of stuff. Why? To help him enable to walk for a little bit longer. Now, because he's young, okay, he's only 8 years old, he can't obviously go to the gym, run the treadmill, because he can't really run anyway. He can't lift weights, he can't do that kind of stuff. So what happens? Puts weight on him. A lot. Very quickly. Okay? And it's horrible. It really, really is. And I feel really bad for him. But it's better than the alternative, right? Now, I see quite a lot of fighters in between camp. Ballooned up. Very, very quickly. And believe me, takeaways and that ain't doing that. Some nightclubs and some alcohol drinking ain't doing that. I see it every single day of my life. I recognise it. So there are ways of getting out of it. As I said, therapeutic use exemptions. That's how you get out of them. Okay? Not everybody gets tested all year round. Doesn't happen, unfortunately. It should happen. But again, if you know when it's going to happen, again, you can take masking agents. You can go to certain parts of the world where you're not going to be tested, where they don't turn up. Like Saudi Arabia, for example. Okay? Just put your training camp over there. They ain't ever testing you. They ain't going to do it. Except for like fight week when you turn up in London or Las Vegas, wherever it's going to be, then you know what? You know you can be waiting for it at the airport, make sure it's out of your system. But the point is, most athletes take something that's unnatural. I mean, what happened to the old days of going for your runs, doing your workouts, hitting the bag, having your sparring, and just being absolutely exhausted, waking up the next day aching, and doing it all again without taking anything other than a flask of water or some fresh orange juice or something like that. Nowadays, everybody's competing with everybody, which is why you're having to take CPD oils, which is why you're having to take the protein shakes and the pre-workout shakes and all these other kind of things. This is why you're having to do it. This is why some people maybe smoke pot or whatever it is. Okay, again, it's not something I've ever done, but this is why they do it. It's a case of, well, I'm not going to give them an advantage. I'm aching, so why do I need to suffer? There's ways around this one. There's ways around lots of things. And things are evolving all the time when it comes to PEDs. It's something, unfortunately, that I don't think you're never really going to stop. But I do feel that if VADA have more power and actually put out, as in photocopy the forms that each and every fighter does when they're tested for VADA, put it out there in the public domain without going through the WBC, without looking for permission, they should do that. And then we'll have more of an understanding as to how many fighters don't get put out there in the public. Now, already, I know some people somewhere would have mentioned about Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte is a totally different case. He passed all VADA, and this is the thing that really annoys me about the whole Oscar VADA situation, okay? Dillian Whyte, WBC suspended him. Now, he was proved to be innocent. UCAD confirmed that, which is why they let him fight in the first place, okay? But the WBC, in all their wisdom, suspended him under investigation, removed his mandatory position and everything, and he's still kind of paying the price for that now. He's still playing catch-up because of that situation. But he passed all VADA. The issue was with UCAD. But he passed VADA, WBC's protocol, if you call it. Oscar Valdez failed VADA. So why is he fighting? Why is he given a pass? Because Oscar Valdez failed VADA. Dillian Whyte didn't. But again, I have my suspicions around that when it comes to Dillian Whyte. I've spoken about it before. I don't know it to be a fact, but knowing what I know, it kind of points me in a direction. In my opinion, possibly, who knows, maybe something was going on between the British Boxing Board of Control and the WBC. Why did I say that? Well, you've got Charlie Giles, the chairman of the British Boxing Board of Control, is also on the board of the WBC. Well, they wanted Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury to get their fight. Dillian Whyte, being mandatory, scuppered that. We can't have that. Well, that's a little convenient, isn't it? Dillian Whyte fails a UCAD sample. Tyson Fury very, very quickly becomes mandatory, even though he's already got a fight with Deontay Wilder already signed. Coincidence? Maybe it is a coincidence. Maybe I'm reaching, okay? Maybe, or maybe not. But the point is, you can never really stop this kind of thing. But if, say, for example, UCAD publish everything, so we know who's having some therapeutic use exemptions, who's having issues with their libido, all right? Let VADA put out publicly every single time a fighter takes a test. Let's see the exact form that happened, where the fighter signs the form. Anything in there that maybe they've put on there that a doctor said it's okay. So maybe there's quite a few fighters out there actually taking steroids, but they're getting exemptions because they've got a friend who happens to be a doctor giving them certificates. Let's see it, shall we? Because when the public sees a lot of this, the WBC can no longer protect their friends, if of course that's what it is that they're doing. All we can do is speculate. But of course, best thing to do, Viva Mexico, and you'll be perfectly fine. All right? Drop your thoughts below. Click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you on the next video.